I'm Ben Meiselas from the MeidasTouch Network. After being exposed engaging in a massive crime spree, receiving millions of dollars of gifts from a Republican benefactor, right-wing Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas has issued a response through the Public Information Officer of the United States Supreme Court, and it is utterly pathetic. We had previously reported here at the MeidasTouch Network, based on the reporting by ProPublica, that Harlan Crow, this right-wing billionaire donor, had given millions of dollars in lavish gifts for more than 2 decades to Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas. He brought Clarence Thomas on all of these lavish trips to Indonesia and the Greek islands and his private resorts in the Adirondacks in New York, his camp called Topridge, and all these other incredible trips, and gave Clarence Thomas the free reign to use his private jet, a Bombardier 5000, to use his super yacht, the Michaela. And Justice Clarence Thomas didn't report any of this on his disclosure forms where it lists gifts. So after being caught, this is what Justice Clarence Thomas, the right-wing Supreme Court justice who has made such rulings as allowing unlimited corporate expenditures in campaigns, as well as taking away a woman's right to control her body. This is what Justice Clarence Thomas has responded based on the reporting. This is the official response to the reporting that he engaged in these crimes. He goes, "Please see the following statement from Justice Clarence Thomas. Harlan and Kathy Crow are among our dearest friends, and we have been friends for over 25 years. As friends do, we have joined them on a number of family trips during the more than a quarter century we have known them. Early in my tenure at the court, I sought guidance from my colleagues and others in the judiciary and was advised that this sort of personal hospitality from close personal friends who did not have business before the court was not reportable. I have endeavored to follow that counsel throughout my tenure and have always sought to comply with the disclosure guidelines. These guidelines are now being changed as the committee of the Judicial Conference responsible for financial disclosures for the entire federal judiciary just this past month, what a coincidence, announced new guidance." I added the "what's the coincidence" part. And it is, of course, my intent to follow this guidance in the future. And this is, again, from the Public Information Officer. So much to unpack here, but let me give you my broad observations first. So, number one, you're either a criminal, which I believe you are, or number two, you exercised such poor judgment that you don't belong anywhere near a courtroom, yet alone to wear the judicial robe and to make these decisions that have harmed so many Americans. But I think it's the former. I just think that you are a complete and utter criminal and crook. And by the way, now you've brought in all of the other judges, right? Because, and all the other right-wing judges, because that's the people who are doing it. I'm sure it's people like who? Alito. They were the judges who were giving you that advice, because we know from other whistleblower testimony before Congress, when Congress actually held appropriate oversight hearings before the Republicans took over, that groups like Faith in Action were basically bribing people like Justice Alito to make favorable rulings for right-wing causes. But I like how you go, I sought the guidance from my colleagues. Really? Really? Your colleagues on the Supreme Court told you that it was okay for you to take millions of dollars in gifts? And then where it says gifts on the financial disclosure report, not to report it because you deemed a gift to be hospitality and you believed personal friendship hospitality doesn't constitute a gift, and you are supposed to be the person making statutory interpretations that affect life and death of people, that affect our economy, that affect bodily autonomy of women. It's you, and you go, oh, I just believe that to be personal hospitality, which did not have to be disclosed. Now let's go deeper, though, and let's talk about the lies, where you go, he's just a close personal friend who did not have business before the court. Really? How about the fact that Harlan Crow sits on the board of AEI, the American Enterprise Institute, a right-wing think tank, which every single day has the goal of influencing the United States Supreme Court. So let's just dispel that falsehood right away. And how about when you would go to Camp Top Ridge in the Adirondacks and get all of these, massive gifts and free hotel room stays and all of this stuff from Harlan Crow? How about the fact that who else was there? How about maybe Leonard Leo, the head of the Federalist Society, was there as well? So it was just you and Harlan Crow and the head of the Federalist Society, what? Just chilling, smoking cigars, talking about what? Talking about the weather, talking about how great the fishing was. Yeah, you want us to believe that? Oh, and by the way, how would I know that you were there with Leonard Leo? How about because there's a big freaking portrait at the Camp Top Ridge owned by Harlan Crow, and there's a photo of you smoking a cigar with Harlan Crow, and guess who else is in the photo? Leonard Leo, head of Federalist Society. Guess who else is in the photo? Mark Paletta, a Trump administration official, general counsel of the Office of Management and Budget, who also goes out there every single day and claims that the Supreme Court shouldn't have additional oversight. So what a complete and utter trash statement that is, where it demonstrates, one, you lack judicial temperament to even be anywhere near the judge. You lack any sense of judgment at all. Your interpretation of rules is so ridiculously appalling. But more significantly, it shows that you are an utter criminal who also want to throw your other right-wing justices under the bus with you. I get that from that full statement. Well, what is Harlan Crow stating in Harlan Crow's statement? Harlan Crow writes, "My wife, Kathy, and I have been friends with Justice Thomas and his wife, Ginny, since 1996. We are very dear friends. The hospitality we have extended to the Thomases over the years is no different from the hospitality we have extended to our many other dear friends. We have been most fortunate to have a great life of many friends and financial success, and we have always placed a priority on spending time with our family and friends. Justice Thomas and Ginny never asked for any of this hospitality. We have never asked about a pending or lower court case, and Justice Thomas has never discussed one, and we have never sought to influence Justice Thomas on any legal or political issue. Oh, that's why we just have Leonard Leo, my dear friend, the head of the Federalist Society, and Mark Paletta, my dear friend, one of the top Trump administration officials from the Office of Management and Budget. Oh, we just all hang out. We have no intent to influence anything. Oh, when Citizens United came up in 2010 and I gave Ginny Thomas $500,000 back then, including $150,000 that she used for her salary, that wasn't anything suspicious that we should be looked into. Completely and utterly ridiculous, these statement, folks. And by the way, it's worth noting as well that that Harlan Crow is one of the largest collectors of Nazi memorabilia, of Adolf Hitler paintings, of Adolf Hitler silverware. And I mean, he has a garden in his backyard in Dallas called the Garden of Evil, of like dictators throughout the 20th century. Because he goes, when I go into my garden, I just want to be reminded of the evil. That's what he says. Oh, and the reason why I have all these Adolf Hitler paintings all around my house is I want to be reminded of the evil. Number one collector of Adolf Hitler paintings. Come on, folks. Oh, and by the way, you want to see how this all works? You want to see how the Billionaire Boys Club then all kind of supports each other. And the good news is that they're losing power. With media networks like this, we're able to disseminate the truth, and more people can watch this than, for example, read the Wall Street Journal. So, but just watch, for example, what Rupert Murdoch wrote. And this is this is what we said on Twitter too. We go, fact: the Murdoch-owned Wall Street Journal, which is used to launder right-wing propaganda as legitimate news to protect billionaire interests, is furious that their corruption was exposed for the world to see. we were commenting on the Wall Street Journal's article, which says, the left is furious. It lost control of the Supreme Court, and it wants it back by whatever means possible. The latest effort is a smear on Justice Thomas. And as you go into the article, this is what they say is the smear by ProPublica, who first reported this on Clarence Thomas. This is what the Wall Street Journal writes. They go, the piece from ProPublica is loaded with words and phrases intended to convey that this is all somehow disreputable. Super yacht, luxury trips, exclusive California all-male retreats, sprawling ranch, private chefs, elegant accommodation, opulent lodges, lavishing the justice with gifts and more. Adjectival overkill is the method of bad polemicists who don't have much to report. The ProPublica writers suggest that Justice Thomas may have violated ethic rules, and they quoted a couple of cherry-picked ethicists to express their dismay. Oh, really? Cherry-picked ethicists? They quoted former federal judges who talked about how outrageous and absurd this is. Oh, and by the way, why then would they all of a sudden in the Supreme Court be changing the rules now where he has to disclose that? And your complaint is that they use words like super yacht, luxury. It was. Objectively, Thomas went on what's called a super yacht. I'm sorry you don't like the word, but he took the trip. Luxury trips. He took luxury trips. Yes. Trips that cost $500,000 for one trip. That's a luxury trip. Okay. Most Americans were not going on $500,000 trips. Exclusive California all-male retreats. That is what the place calls themselves, an exclusive California all-male retreat where they went on. A sprawling ranch, yeah, where you live on a ranch with hundreds and thousands of acres, yeah, that is a sprawling ranch. Private chefs, yes, when you hire a chef who becomes your personal chef, that is called a private chef. Opulent lodges, lavishing the justice, yes, those are what are called words. Those words describe what took place. You see just how pathetic this right-wing echo chamber is. And frankly, when they go out and they try to brainwash all of their support, they try to brainwash their supporters and their cult followers. Do you think for a moment that they would let their cult followers go into any of these super yachts or luxury trips or exclusive all-male retreats? Didn't they even let them go to Mar-a-Lago? No, this is all a right-wing massive grift. That is what's taking place. They've been exposed and they are losing power, and it is critical. It is vital that we share these messages, that we build platforms like this one right here at MeidasTouch Network to call these people out. We need Americans to see this. We need the world to be seeing this, because sunlight is the best disinfectant for fascism, for these lies, for this disinformation. These are facts. These are facts. And we stand on the side of truth here at the MeidasTouch Network. I'm Ben Meiselas. Thank you so much for watching this video. Hit the subscribe button. We are on our way to 1.5 million subscribers. Thanks to your incredible support. Hit subscribe right now. Also, check us out at patreon.com/MeidasTouch, patreon.com/MeidasTouch. We don't have outside investors. We fund this through our Patreon site. So go to patreon.com/MeidasTouch if you want to help out there. No worries if you can't. Also, wherever you get audio podcasts, search for the MeidasTouch podcast and make sure you subscribe to the MeidasTouch podcast. It's free. All right, hit subscribe on our YouTube channel. It's free to subscribe here. Thank you so much for watching. I am Ben Meiselas. Have a great day.
The best part of waking up? MAGA tears in my cup. Check out the new MAGA tears mug available now at store.MeidasTouch.com. That's store.MeidasTouch.com. It's 100% union made right here in the USA. I know I'm not tired of winning yet. How about you? Get yours today.